Welcome everybody to both sides of the conversation. I'm John Henry, Executive Director. Today is Tuesday, so you know what that means. We're going to have another segment of our hidden gems. Y'all know every Tuesday we are here to highlight our Black and brown businesses, our community leaders, and organizations that are doing positive things to impact our community. After tonight, they won't be hidden. You'll know something about an organization or a business you didn't know about. So make sure you tune in. And if that is you out there, because I know some businesses out here looking for some ways to get their business out, make sure y'all reach out to us so we can get you on, highlight you to the community so we can support our people as we continue to build the Black ecosystem. We got to spend our dollars within ourselves. We got to uplift our Black and brown businesses. We have to uplift the very people that are doing positive things to impact our community. With that being said, I'm looking forward to tonight's hidden gem. We have a phenomenal organization that are doing multiple things to impact our community, but we'll be getting them up shortly. First, I want to say, okay, a couple things. Did y'all feel the heat today? Okay, we got some days of heat coming up in San Francisco. I know people in the East Bay like, we used to this 100-degree, 80-degree weather. Okay, it's San Francisco, okay? We on the Bay. So anytime we could get an 85-degree day in San Francisco clear, it's hot, okay? We don't have all the air conditioning and the stuff that everybody have, okay? But it's a great week. The Blue Angels are flying through the air. It's going to be clear and sunny tomorrow through the weekend. It's going to be 80 all the way through the weekend. So community, get ready to enjoy the heat. Stay hydrated, okay? I know some of y'all, we've been missing the heat here in San Francisco. Make sure you're drinking water. If you out watching the Blue Angels, make sure you're being safe. I know folks are going to be drinking in public and things that nature. Make sure you're being safe out there. Be kind, nice, and enjoy the space. Be careful for all the folks going down to the Embarcadero and to Chrissy Fields. Be careful as more and more car break-ins are happening. Yes, you are in San Francisco. If you leave your belongings in your car, you might get bipped, okay? Please make sure when you get out your car, you put all your belongings and hide them, tuck them away, okay? This is San Francisco. Unfortunately, we have a great number of car break-ins in our city as we are dealing with it across the Bay Area. But again, be safe out there. Enjoy yourself. Do the things that you need to do. Be kind and nice out there, okay? It's going to be hot. People are going to be out. People are going to be irritated. But enjoy the Blue Angel Show. Have a great week. The rest of this week should be nice and warm. Get out and enjoy some of the festivities and some of the events that are taking place. Also, community, we got to continue to keep fighting, okay? I got to say this to the community. I left a meeting today with DPA, and I'm going to just tell y'all right now, okay? We got some stuff that we got to do. It's just not right, community. And ain't nobody going to look out for us but us. All right. When we talk about police accountability, when we talk about accountability, period, in our community, there's more that we have to do as a community. There's a lot of conversation that's happening, but I got to bring up some conversations. When we talk about community, and we talk about impact and things that impact the Black and brown community. We talk about how do we strategically plan and throw events. What's community? Because, some of these events that folks are doing, they're not in our community. The folks that are attending these meetings are not our community. But they have the answers for our community. So we got to start doing our part to be involved. Make sure that we are holding folks accountable. For real, hold them accountable. And y'all know the bishop. I was there. I'm speaking up for my people because I understand what's going on. And it's too much performative happening in our community. And we need some action. And we need some folks that are really fighting on the ground. But we got some work to do. Not happy what I heard. Not happy what I'm seeing. And, it's a frustration. But again, we can't get frustrated. We got to move in action. We have to continue to organize and mobilize. And we have to do our part to continue to uplift our voices and make sure that they're amplified and we do the things to move our community and our community needs forward. And here at both sides of the conversation, we will continue to do that. We will be the voice of the people to uplift the people and make sure that we're doing our part to help change the narrative. So, a lot of work to do. There's a lot of meetings, a lot of things happening this weekend. You'll hear in events. We'll be all over the place. You'll see our both sides of the conversation team all throughout the city, throughout the Bay Area, as we have a number of events that we'll be a part of, and we'll make sure we get that information out to everybody. And I hope to see you out there. Come see the bishop. Y'all been missing me. I've been gone for 3 weeks all over the country. I'm back now. Come holler at me. All right. With that being said, let's get started tonight. Brother Mark, you here. We had a great show Sunday. It's our hidden gems. Holler at the people. The voice.
Hey, community, as always, glad to be here on both sides of the conversation. Bishop, Ayo. It is always an honor and pleasure to be here with you guys, speaking to the community. And I'll be quite honest, Bishop, I know your frustration that you're feeling. I've been paying attention to some global events happening on the continent, and there's a paradigm shift going, and I think a lot of people are starting to wake up to some of the systematic I guess all I could say is hypocrisies. A lot of the systems, a lot of the organizations that are in place that profess to be there to take care of the people, they're just being intellectually and morally dishonest with us, and the people are tired of it. So I'm glad to see that we're coming together and starting to realize that nobody is coming to save us. We're going to have to do it on our own. So we're going to continue to push that forward with this conversation this evening.
Man, thank you, Burke. Just happy to be here. Yeah, we got some work to do. People are waking up. We got to wake up a little faster, okay? I keep telling people in our community, we're too reactive. We got to be intentional. We got to be preventive. And this is the time. We got to start getting organized, working together, uplifting each other, because we are headed to some dark days, okay? If it ain't AI taking us out, believe me, it's some other folks that's sitting there trying to take us out. So we got some work to do. All right. Guess who's back, community? Sister Io, we missed you on Sunday. I know it was a heavy conversation. It was a great conversation. Glad the guests that you were able to connect with to get them there. Very, very important conversation. But you got all the people yelling at me. Where was Io at? This was her conversation. She needed to be there. I don't know. Hey, community, Io's here. Io, holler at the people. Tell them hello. Say something to them.
Good evening, community, and my apologies. But I believe that was a great conversation. And I believe that the trajectory and everything that was shared, those who needed to be there were there. And everyone was fed what needed to be fed. So it was a great show. And with it being Domestic Violence Awareness Month, we will have many other shows for us to be able to highlight and to get the necessary resources out for everybody. Also, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I lost my grandmother to breast cancer, and this is a very important month for myself and my family, just raising their awareness and also making sure that we get checked, ladies. Making sure that you're doing your checkups, making sure if you don't know, it doesn't hurt to ask and be inquisitive and ask your doctor to make sure. Get those regular checkups. It's very important for ourselves, our safety, and our families. So I'm very excited for this evening's conversation. We have three wonderful guests coming on, three very powerful women, and I'm just excited to get started.
Yeah, thank you for being here. And I share that sentiment. I lost my mom to breast cancer. So these conversations this month that we're going to be having on our Sunday conversations, very emotional, sometimes triggering, and I have those questions like everybody else. Why are we not doing the preventative work? Okay. But these things happen and we have to break that narrative, this fear, this trauma. And this is why I always reach out to our medical professionals, okay, to make safe spaces in our medical centers and facilities so that our folks can feel comfortable to come in and get the treatment and services that they need. Again, this is a very, very important month. Always uplifting the women of the community. Sisters, brothers, go get checked, okay? Breast cancer do happen to men as well. And we want to make sure we uplift. But this month, we're going to have some phenomenal folks to come on, some survivors, some folks who are in the work. And we're going to continue to advocate to make sure that our Department of Public Health and our hospitals are doing their parts to engage with the community, get out in the community, and run these tests out in the community for the folks so that we can do more prevention and detection before we get to those deadly ends. But with that being said, since we on the healthcare topic, okay, there's a potential strike that might happen at midnight. 75,000 Kaiser workers, okay, might walk off the job at midnight if they can't get this contract signed. We hope that both sides of the negotiating table can come together. Again, we talk about health in our community. We know in the Black community especially, we are the most despaired when it comes to health. And it's hard to get access to hospitals. And if these Kaiser workers strike, this could impact our community. So we just hope that they could get this done. And if it don't, we just hope our surrounding hospitals, clinics, folks step up. All our folks who have resources, nonprofit clinics, keep your doors open. Help the people through these times. Again, there's a movement in this country going on with middle-class workers, blue-collar workers, as again, folks are fighting to close the wealth gap in this country, protecting their jobs as automation and robotics is taking over. We still need space for our people. So again, we uplift those folks who stand up for the righteous change and for the due diligence and for what they should be receiving for their benefits, for the hard work that they do, always putting their lives on the risk for community. So I just want to say thank you to all of our nurses and LVNs and doctors and janitors and all of the folks in those hospital walls that keep the doors and windows open and the lights on to make sure that folks come in there and have a great experience. We want to uplift you and let you know we appreciate the work. And we hope management and the unions could get together and figure out what needs to be figured out to keep our folks at work and our hospital doors open and running for our community. But with that being said, enough of me. I've had enough. Mark, I'm going to turn it over to you. Get to the news, brother. What's going on in the news?
All right. I'll definitely go ahead and jump into these headlines. All right. Local headlines. Starting off, San Francisco Supervisor Aaron Peskin says people want him to run for mayor. San Francisco Supervisor Aaron Peskin, a long-standing city official known for his progressive stance, hinted at a potential mayoral run. Though he has not made a final decision, Peskin revealed that many have encouraged him to enter the race against Mayor London Breed, whose road to re-election has seen various challenges from moderate candidates. Peskin's extensive history in San Francisco politics and the city's ranked choice voting system might offer him an advantage. However, despite his notable experience, his divisive nature and past controversies may pose challenges to his potential candidacy. And also, SF just approved the most expensive homeless response ever. San Francisco officials have approved the extension of a safe parking site lease at Candlestick Point for 2 more years, costing $312,000 annually. City analysts labeled this program as the most expensive homeless response in the city's history. This decision sees the city incurring millions in operating costs for the Bayview Vehicle Triage Center. That's a mouthful to say, which accommodates 35 recreational vehicles on a vacant Bayview lot. And also in local news, ex-San Francisco building inspector convicted and sentenced to prison. Bernard Bernie Curran, a former senior building inspector for San Francisco's Department of Building Inspection, has been convicted of violating conflict of interest laws and sentenced to 2 years in prison. This sentence will run concurrently with the federal 1-year prison sentence, and Curran was found guilty of accepting cash payments and donations from developers and property owners for projects he was in charge of approving. In addition to federal charges, he also faced prosecution from the San Francisco District Attorney's Office for failing to disclose financial payments and for approving building permits where he had a financial conflict of interest. Curran is set to begin serving his sentence on October the 12th. And finally, LaFonza Butler sworn in as California's newest senator. Democratic Senator LaFonza Butler was sworn in by Vice President Kamala Harris on Tuesday, appointed by California Governor Gavin Newsom to fill the vacancy left by the passing of Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein. Butler is the 3rd Black woman ever to serve as a U.S. Senator. Previously a union leader and an advocate for abortion rights, she was the first woman of color to lead Emily's List in 2021. And after her swearing in, she did not confirm if she would run for the Senate seat in the upcoming elections. And that will do it for your news. I'll pass it over to Io for the events.
SFHRC proudly presents a conversation with Nicole Hannah-Jones, October 5th, 2023 at 6 p.m. Doors open at 5:30 at the Sidney Goldstein Theater located at 275 Hayes Street in San Francisco. Join SFHRC for Pathways to Parity 2023, Strategies for Transformational Economic Empowerment, October 5th and 6th, 2023 in San Francisco. SFHRC invites all Pathways to Parity 2023 conference attendees to join us for the summit closing celebration on October 6th at 6 p.m. at the City Hall North Light Court. All My USOs invites you to support its blood drive on October 7th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at 2055 Sunnydale Avenue in San Francisco. Sign up at the link below. Join the Brighter Futures Family Day event this Saturday, October 7th, 2023, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., African American Art and Culture Complex, 762 Fulton Street in San Francisco. Join the conversation at the YMCA's Men's Harambe Cuts Shop Talk for ages 14 and up with complimentary refreshments and swag. Thursday, October 12th, 2023, 5 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. at Bayview YMCA, 1601 Lane Street in San Francisco. Discover CCSF for 12th grade families Saturday, October 14th, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Ocean Campus at 50 Frida Kahlo Way in San Francisco, multi-use building 140. Come out and learn why City College San Francisco is a great choice. Push Dance Company's Sanctuary grand opening will be Sunday, October 15th, 2023 at 447 Mina Street in San Francisco. Tickets are on sale now. International Shakeout Day, October 19th, 2023. Join in on the world's largest earthquake drill. Register to participate. YCD presents the second annual District 10 Safety Plans Violence Prevention Peace Rally. There will be food, vendors, raffles, music, and more. Saturday, October 21st, 2023, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Monarch Gardens, 428 11th Street in San Francisco. San Francisco Safe will have Halloween candy explosion on Saturday, October 29th from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Admission is free, and this event will include food, carnival games, music, and more at Gilman Park, 903 Gilman Avenue in San Francisco. Farmers Market located at the Southeast Community Center, 1550 Evans Avenue, San Francisco, every Thursday now until November 30th. 3 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. They accept cash, debit, and EBT. OMI Cultural Participation Projects, The Lion King, Friday, December 8th at 7:30 p.m. at the Orpheum Theater, 1192 Market Street in San Francisco. The San Francisco African American Reparations Advisory Committee cordially invites you to be a part of the conversation every second Monday in 2023. You may attend in person at City Hall, located at 1 Dr. Carlton B. Goodlett Place, or online by registering at the link below. Dreamkeeper SF invites you to join us at Community Updates every third Wednesday in 2023. These meetings are open to the public via Zoom. For more information and the meeting link, please visit the site below. Wu Yi presents the Holiday Pajama Jam for the Bottles and Blankets Pantry on Saturday, December 16th, 2023 from 1 to 4 p.m. at 4900 3rd Street in San Francisco. They are a new nonprofit and donations are needed. OMI Cultural Participation Projects, The Wiz, Saturday, January 27th, 2024 at 7:30 p.m. at the Golden Gate Theater, 1 Taylor Street in San Francisco. San Francisco Human Rights Commission has regular bi-monthly commission meetings on the second and fourth Thursday of each month at 5 p.m. in City Hall, room 416. You can also attend via Zoom. Be a mentor in SFUSD. Join San Francisco Unified School District school-based mentoring program, Mentoring for Success. Sign up to volunteer as an individual or group mentor district-wide. New vaccination site, COVID-19 booster and monkeypox antiviral pill treatment. Thursday, 1 to 5 p.m. at 330 Ellis Street, as well as Saturdays, 12 to 4 p.m. at 1221 Mission Street. The Community Living Room open all day, Monday through Friday, Breakfast, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., and grab-and-go lunch from 2:30 to 3:30 at City of Hope Cafe, 750 Ellis Street in San Francisco. Would you like to promote your business, nonprofit, or community impact? Sign up for our Hidden Gems show. Share your expertise on our Educational Thursdays or be a panelist on Sunday's Conversation. Keep up with both sides of the conversation's latest shows and community outreach events. Follow us on all of our social media platforms. You can also subscribe to our newsletter at bsotc.org. BSOTC welcomes all individuals who are interested in giving back to their communities to join us as volunteers. We value the positive impact volunteers can make and invite you to be a part of our mission to uplift and support our community. BSOTC kindly requests your invaluable support for our podcast and community engagement endeavors. We cordially invite you to explore any of our donation links, as your generous contributions will greatly aid us in enhancing our programming. We would like to take this time to acknowledge the Dreamkeeper Initiative and its support for BSOTC's programming. The Dreamkeeper Initiative amplifies the voices of and invests in San Francisco's diverse Black communities to reform public safety and address structural inequities in San Francisco. Please join us this Sunday, for our Sunday conversation.
All right. Thank you, Ayo. Thank you for community for being patient to get through all of our community events. News and announcement is very important that we get that out to community, as community folks are always asking, I don't know where the events are happening. What's going on? We're just here to make sure you know where everything is, how to get connected. We'll be at the Brighter Futures event. You'll see a number of our both sides of the conversation team, and you will see the bishop. I'll be there for a minute. I got multiple events going on, but you'll see me. I'll be out there. Come check us out. You'll see our both sides of the conversation gear, hats out there. Come out at us. Check us out. But with that being said, this is the Hidden Gem Show. Tonight is about uplifting and highlighting some amazing folks in our community that are impacting. Tonight, we have the amazing Love Never Fails in partnership with the Dreamkeeper Initiative and Brighter Futures. They're going to be talking about their organization and work they're doing to impact community. And I'm excited about this because it's been a while. Vanessa, where are you at? Okay, you're supposed to be here with me tonight. Shout out to Vanessa, a phenomenal leader that's continued to impact community with their organization. But just happy to have these representatives here tonight of Love Never Fails to talk about what they're doing to impact community. With that being said, we're going to bring up the first hidden gem of this Love Never Fails crew. We're going to bring up Miss Monica Wilson. Welcome to both sides of the conversation, Queen. How are you doing tonight? Talk to the people. Let them know.
I'm doing pretty good. I'm out here in the East Bay. It's hot. It's always hot. I wish it was 85, but thank you so much for having us. I know you wish it was Vanessa. I have some big shoes to fill, but hopefully I can live up to the legend that is Vanessa here tonight. So yes, again, I'm Monica Wilson. I am the Senior Program Manager at Love Never Fails. I've been with Love Never Fails since 2020. I literally started a few weeks before we shut down, before the whole world shut down. So have been with Love Never Fails through the pandemic, and now here we are on the other side. And human trafficking was an issue all the way through the pandemic. Human traffickers didn't say, I'm staying inside. They found other ways to reach out to our most vulnerable. So just a little bit about Love Never Fails. We're an organization that's been around since 2011. It was the love child that sprang from Vanessa's heart. It came about when one of her students that she was teaching was trafficked, and she learned everything. She put her heart and soul to learn everything about human trafficking and what she can do and make a difference in the community. I mean, we talk about people that talk the talk. Vanessa talks the talk and she walks the walk. She does it. She not only says it, she's out there doing it. So she brought Love Never Fails to fruition to help survivors of human trafficking, but also helping, bringing awareness to the community, making sure that people know what human trafficking is, what are the signs, and we're shouting it from the rooftops. But wanted to give you a little bit about our organization. I know that our other two guests that are with me probably will have a few things to say. So I'm going to put a little comma right here because we're going to continue the conversation. So I don't know who you're going to put it on next, but I'll leave it to you guys.
But definitely thank you. And again, community, love never fails. Check out their website. We'll put their information in the chat. Phenomenal organization. Go back on our YouTube. Check out some of the conversations of Vanessa being here. Great movement that they have. And I'm just happy to see them continue to plug along through, like she said, to the other side of this pandemic. I still feel like we're still there, but we are on the other side. With that being said, we're going to bring up Miss Jen Alvarez. Love never fails. How you doing, Miss Jen?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you guys and all the work that you're doing. I was like writing down the events that are happening and saying that I need to watch this more often and get educated and informed on what's going on in the community.
No problem. That's what we're here for. We're happy to have you here to talk about some of the work that you all are doing. And we're just excited. We'll get through this conversation and hopefully we can answer all the questions that the community we have. Again, this is what this segment's about, letting folks know who you all are and what you're doing. So happy to have you here. With that being said, we're going to bring up the last of the three. Robin, I know she's representing Love Never Fails plus her organization. Want to bring her up. Miss Robin, welcome to Both Sides of the Conversation, Queen. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I need to explain this jacket. I'm in the East Coast and it's not so hot over there.
It's an on the East Coast right now. Is that
it was warm today, but it's 10 p.m. so it's it is such an honor. I remember when you first started Both Sides of the Conversation, John. So to be talking to you live is such a privilege. So thank you.
Well, thank you for being here. I mean, it is an honor just to have all three of you here. But I want to kick it off with this because, again, I know the reason why you all here is very important for work that you all are doing in different programming. Want to kick it off first and just start off and talk about the brighter future work that you all are doing with the Dreamkeeper Initiative. As we all know, the Dreamkeeper Initiative is doing a phenomenal job to impact Black and Brown community, folks of color that's been impacted, and try to make sure that resources, information is all being uplifted in a way that we could change the narrative. So I'll just pass it over to you all, whoever want to start. Let's talk about what y'all doing. I know y'all doing some work in D10 and Potrero Hill. I know y'all have other stuff going on, but let's start there and talk about the work that you're doing, what that program look like, and for community folks who don't know how to connect with you all to be a part of the amazing work that you all are doing.
Yeah, so I could go ahead and start. I'll just start by introducing who I am with Love Never Fails. I am, as it says, the life purpose coach for Love Never Fails. I also do unification work for our youth in our safe house. And I primarily focus on reconnecting families back with their children who are at risk or who have ran away. And I get to do the amazing work of connecting with the parents, which is, I think, one of our secret sauces. Is we definitely have a case manager that gets assigned to a youth when they come into our safe house, but our secret sauce is that we also everything that we pour into the youth, we also pour into the parents, because our goal is to keep them out of the system and to reunify the family. And so what we always tell the parents is you sent your child to this program and we understand, but know that you are going to go through a program as well. And that's where I come in and we work together. So that's a lot of the work that I do with the youth. And so we are privileged to be able to work with the Dream Keepers Initiative. They are the reason why we can put boots on the ground in San Francisco. So I co-lead with Robin and Monica, a young ladies wellness program in Potrero Hill on the 2nd and 4th Thursdays of the month. And it's just it's a safe place for them to come together to talk about their barriers in life, to talk about the things that they're going through, to be able to have fellowship with one another, to talk about their identity and to be empowered in their identity and to have a voice. And how that connects into Love Never Fails is it's us getting ahead and doing that preventative work that you were talking about, John, to make sure that anyone who is at risk is prevented from being exploited. And so we talk about their vulnerabilities like being a person of color, vulnerabilities like living in an underserved community, a disability, an immigrant, a language barrier, mental health issues, all of that makes one vulnerable, makes them at risk for someone coming along and exploiting them. So Robin, I'll pass it to you, but Robin's my partner in crime and she does a lot of the crisis care work. She's a case manager on paper, but she's really a Tay advocate, and she goes
Oh,
in
yeah.
deep on our off weeks. So when they're not in programming, Robin's chasing them, and she's intervening and going to their schools and their courts and doing all the real boots on the ground work to remove some of the barriers they're facing.
That is true. First of all, I attend the girls groups on Thursday nights as a way to build rapport, build trust, build relationship, and because everyone is at a different stage, and it's important, especially with young people that are experiencing sexual exploitation and trafficking, that they have a concrete place and a concrete space. We've got all these illusions. John, you're talking about artificial intelligence and even what our technology has kind of done to our social and emotional skills when it comes to trafficking and sexual exploitation. It means they have a distorted view, and it's kind of, I describe it like compare it to the fog that we experience in the city, that you can hear those foghorns, but you can't see those ships, or you can see the light of the lighthouse and you trust that. So that clears the fog. The fog starts to clear and they start to see you and feel you. I'm a hugger, so I'll if it feels right, I'll give them a side hug, but it builds that rapport and that trust by the consistency of coming back as well. So then they start to decide how they want to engage with me, and everyone has a different story. So everyone has a different need. And it seems to be the way that we work with at least 20 youth at once. And it seems to be the way that 4 or 5 of the youth need more intensive support in a specific season. And so I focus on that and trust that. And the others then, that helps build the rapport as well, where they start to see, she's got her back, or she's helping her. And then it happens every time. They go, could you help me with this? Or I need this and that. No one ever comes up and says, hey, I'm being trafficked, can you help me? But they'll start with, I need help with housing, or I got arrested and I don't know what to do. And so those things build that relationship. And I've always loved the name Both Sides of the Conversation, because I'm a big storyteller and every one of us has a story. And so it's really important then. I love driving with the youth or walking with the youth, and that's why Turntable is what it's called, because we're side by side and we come alongside, and it helps them start to tell their part of their conversation. And so I'm seeing a lot of youth come to me, and then they're bringing their sisters and their cousins, and the mothers are saying, could you help us too? So I'm really starting to see that. And Jen and I have been working with family reunification for quite some time. If we help parents, then the young person's life gets better as well. If we help the young person, I actually think the parent's life improves as well. So we're very, very holistic. I used to work in a child protection space back in the day in Australia, and I got sick of working with the family members in isolation, and then they try for reunification, and then 12 months later the young person's homeless. And so I want to do that early on and see that work really, really shine bright. And we are seeing I would see some miraculous stories come to pass as a result of this work. So I too am very grateful for DKI and all they make possible.
Can I just interject?
Go ahead.
I know you're going to ask me a question.
Come right on, sister.
Y'all taking over. Go ahead.
But and it's so great about Love Never Fails. The mission is making sure everybody gets the best of humanity, the best sense of humanity, and it's such a great core to what we believe in. And and Robin said it. We really look at everything holistically. We don't just. It's not just the youth that's being trafficked. We look at the family or their family unit. Everything's very holistic. I mean, even everything that we offer at Love Never Fails. I mean, as a program manager, I oversee search and recovery. I work with Jen and Robin with DKI. We have safe houses. I think we're at 7 now, 7 safe houses. We really, look at the foundational work of building everybody back up with the workforce development piece of IT tech, that IT biz, that Vanessa brought to. I mean, she thought very holistically when she brought this organization together to be able to help, not only our survivors, but our communities. I mean, we even have, our church coalition, because a lot of times, conversations and relationships and businesses kind of happen in church. And so we have this coalition. But I really wanted to interject that what Jen and Robin are talking about and what the mission of Love Never Fails is very, very holistic. And we really, want to bring families together and then make sure the lives that they're living is sustainable and continuous. Because even people are out of our program, we're still following up and checking in on them. So I wanted to interject that before you got to the next question.
Well, I mean, I have a lot of questions. I know my team's going to have a lot of questions, but I mean, I think one thing that Jen resonated with me is, a lot of these issues that we're dealing with in our community are from the adults. So it's always great that you all are doing the work with the adults. I keep telling people, the children aren't the problem in our community. I've been doing this work for 27 years. Okay. Yeah. A lot of people think you just see me on both sides of the conversation. I've been working in the community 27 years, organizing, advocating, working with these young people in juvenile. I listen to the stories. I feel the pain. And I'm going to tell you one thing that's consistent. The adults of the community is the problem. The parents, the community leaders, our elected officials, the leaders, they are the problem. Our young people are trying to find those leaders, those folks that they can look up to. And so many times, the very people that they look up to are failing them, whether it's in the home, in the community, and it's terrible. And I keep saying that we're going to have to make a huge investment. A lot of the programming that happens, a lot of the grant, the money that goes out, we're attacking the TAY population. We're going after these young people. And I said, we got to invest in the adults. We got a gap of adults between 24 and 40 that's just terrible. The parenting is terrible. The leadership is terrible. The identity is terrible. The understanding of life is just terrible. Okay. And we got to do something there. And I know mental health is a big part of it. Some of the childhood traumas, some of the ways folks have been raised is a lot of the problems. And if we really want to change the narrative with our young people, I keep telling the adults, especially the elders, we must bridge the gap with the young people. We must pass the torch. We must work with our young people and give them the tools that they need to be the great young people that they can be. And, and it ties back to a lot of the things that I'm talking about. And I think it plays across all sectors of life. Even in the loss of Senator Feinstein, our condolences, you look at her age and the seat that she held. You get what I'm saying? See, the picture gets clear when we talk about how do our elders pass the torch to the next generation of young people. See, well, we don't look at it like that, but these are the examples that we have. And people say, John, why you always say this? We want, and the elders, we want to work with the young people. No, they don't. Because if you look at the patterns of behavior, if you look at what's going on in society, in our community, you look in the pulpits, they're not passing the torch. Everybody in our community is dying away with the knowledge, dying away with the information. And this is why our community is always challenged with advancing, being innovative, and staying ahead of the curve. Where other coaches and community, they get it. They empower the youth. They let the youth speak. They give them the microphone. But we have some stubborn, ego-driven, power-controlling people that they don't want to give up that. So I just appreciate that. And I'm sorry, I get on these rants, okay? Because I always have to remind the people what the problem is, right? We got to identify the problem. But you said something else, Jen. See, I don't know, Jen, you're just talking to me right now. But listen, you talk about the safe space, right? And we understand Bayview for the folks who may be watching that don't understand Bayview, District 10, Trail Hill, okay? One of the most disparate communities, one of the most violent communities, one of the most gentrified communities at this point that still transition, as they would say. With that being said, we talk about safe spaces, and I'm big on safe spaces. What does that look like? What does that mean? because everybody's talking about safe spaces these days. And I'm like, I go around, I say, well, the space is not so safe. You know what I'm saying? We talk about the environment as one part of safety, but when we talk about these spaces that you're having these conversations, enriching our young people and giving them the tools, you know, I always tell people the safe space is about being able to have conversations and things without any backlash, any physical violence, and judgment. Because the thing, you know, we have to create that, not only with the participants as the facilitators in the community, but we talk about safe spaces, and I'm finding more and more and more, there's not a lot of safe spaces, Jen. How do we create more? How do you guys get to that level? Because I think this is a tool that needs to be taught to some organizations, some leaders. Everybody's talking about safe spaces. And I go to these spaces and I go, it's not so safe in here. I don't feel so inclusive. I don't feel safe by what's being said or what's being done. So how do you all do it and make it so welcoming and opening to young people?
Well, first, I want to say that before I came to Love Never Fails, I've been with Love Never Fails a little over 5 years, but I'm a San Francisco native. And before I came to Love Never Fails, my husband and I led and helped launch the Peace Parks program, if you guys are all familiar with that. London Breed's program in collaboration with the police departments to stop the violence in the streets. My husband led the young men's program, and I helped lead the young ladies program. And that's when we did praise dance, Io. We did praise dance in the streets, and we were like reclaiming the territory. It was the closest I ever felt with God, like the closest. And of course, when we were doing that work, the principalities came and they pushed us out fast. Like, I mean, we got pushed out fast. And I don't even want to go into the politics of that. But first of all, a lot of people are out there trying to do the work by themselves. And it doesn't work. And in San Francisco, especially, everybody is territorial. It does not work. We cannot fight against each other. We cannot we have to collaborate together to create the safe space. I can't say, here's a room, you guys all come here, I'll keep it safe, and do that all by myself. I can't. So my point is that when we came in the community and did the work the first time, and even though we got pushed out, we created a lot of long-lasting relationships with leaders in the community, people that were doing work, like Stand in Peace with Siobhan and Uzuri with the CARE, and the people that were really doing the work out there. So when it came time to create the safe space, I just had the conversations with those people. And then Ray Kelly with the Park and Rec. And he created the space. We helped create the people. And then I already had the network of the youth. But it's me there. It's Robin coming in. It's the watchman at the door. It's the person in the gym. It's the person standing outside. It's the person making sure that they get home when we leave and they're not walking to a bus stop or they're not getting on an Uber. And then it's making sure that we're just one phone call away if they need something. And it doesn't matter if it's in the middle of the night. That's what a safe space looks like. Anything you want to add, Robin?
No, read my mind, Jen.
That's what I wanted to hear. Go ahead. Go ahead. But I wanted to hear that. And I'm glad you said, because that's what we need to hear. And I agree with you. And people get mad when I say that. And I tell people because they think we're here in California, we're in San Francisco. And I tell people, my city is the most segregated city in America when it comes to community. Believe me, to this day, tonight, San Francisco is one of the most segregated cities in this country. We don't work together. We have to change that, but we can't keep talking about we don't work together. I'm trying to put together right now a coalition of folks because we got to teach people what partnership looks like, what collaboration looks like. Because there's a lot of folks running nonprofits, a lot of folks running businesses, and they don't get that training. They don't really understand what collaboration looks like and what we're working each other looks like. So again, more conversations on that. But that's what we got to do, community. We have to educate the folks because I hear it all the time. Yeah, people need to work together. Well, what does that look like? And what does it look like to you? And where is the script for the community to identify what working together looks like? We got to get it. So we got to put it together. We have to be the model behavior of that. because it's easy for folks to say that we don't work together. You reach out and call people, hey, I need some support. Oh, I can't do anything. And
I just have one thing to add to that.
Go ahead.
Talking about the parents, and it kind of leads into the leaders. I have this conversation with the parents all the time when they're complaining about their kids. And I would tell them, stop focusing on your kids and start focusing on yourself. And I'd say, because once you heal, they will heal. The leaders need to make sure they're healed before they go out there and start doing the work. And I could be honest, we weren't healed when we went out there the first time. And that's the reason why we got taken out. But the reason why I get to stay this time is because I did all the work, the emotional, the heart-centered work I needed to do to make sure that I'm not serving from a place where I needed something. I'm serving from a place for them. And that's it.
And they can tell.
Very powerful, Jen, okay? I see something in your bio that's concerning because I think I'm falling into that, okay? I'm a workaholic. I only sleep 2 hours a day. Try to save my people. But Robin, go ahead, Robin.
Well, I was going to say that the youth can tell when you show up for yourself or you show up for them. And I think most people that do this work, we are doing it because we didn't have something in our story that means we want to make sure that the next generation has less of or none of those things and more of the things we missed out on. Or we had some great things happen in our life and we want to make sure that repeats and replicates and multiplies as well. Going back to the safe places, the thing that I wanted to add about that is listening. And you mentioned that before about making sure that we listen and we give our young people a voice. So I do a lot of one-on-one work. I value the group work context because it helps people build relationship in their own time. But eventually all the young people need one-on-one time. And I think that helps with the collaboration piece as well about working together, is in the same way making sure that we're here to serve each other. And Jen and I have worked a long time together. Vanessa and I met Vanessa 8 years ago. I've been working in San Francisco for 10. I sound like I got here last week, but I've been here a long time. And this serving each other really is important for the collaboration piece. Knowing where I learned that phrase, stay in your lane, which works to keep us focused, but it doesn't. We got to build bridges as well. And we should be leaders of that in the Bay Area because we've got lots of water and we've got lots of bridges. So we have to work out when it is just me, but when it is we as well for that working together.
Yeah, I think that's very powerful, Rob, that you say that. And I agree 100% with you. We have to do that. And the other thing is we also have to identify what that works look like, especially in this work of trauma, healing. All right. Because I get a lot of people who come on my show and they want to tell me, oh, yeah, you got to do the self-work. Got to do the self-work. I said, listen, tell my people what that looks like. Because I hear a lot of people, I'm doing therapy. I'm doing this. I'm healing. And I said, what does that look like? Because I got a bunch of people out here that's right now maybe not seeing a therapist, maybe not doing this. And people keep saying, well, you got to get healed. You got to do, what does that look like? And I want to make sure that we always name it and we call it up and we uplift what that looks like, because everybody's not going to have access to the therapist. Everybody's not going to have access to the resources. How do I know when I'm healing? How do I know when I'm making this change? What does that look like?
One thing we all can do is we can have less time on our phones before we go to sleep. And the light from our phones tells our brains that it's still sunshine. And we can turn our television off, but we will get a better sleep if we turn our television off. And the deep sleep, we're not sleeping properly as well. That is one easy one that we can all do. That's very, very hard because we all have our phones with our alarms near our beds and all those sorts of things. But I agree with you. Not everyone has therapy, or not everyone's ready to. Therapy brings things up, and sometimes we're not ready for that either. But healing is pursuing good relationships, for safe places to talk, doing things we love, trying to have some time off or time away, which getting into nature is a big one. I'm a big believer in that too.
Wow. Very powerful stuff. Very proud. I like that. I like how you broke that down. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, we need practical stuff. I'm practical girl.
Give me the tools. Give my community the tools. But with that being said, Ayo, Mark, jump in here. I know they got a lot of questions. We got a lot of stuff to ask y'all, but Ayo, Mark, go ahead, kick it off. Let's keep this thing going.
I just want to go back to what Jen was saying about collaboration. That's something that I couldn't stress more. I say it all the time within these conversations here. When we get to a certain level, like Robin said, stand in your lane, right? You want to stay in your lane, but there's a such thing as called highways and freeways, and all of these lanes are interjecting. So when you get to a certain level, it's not about competition, it's about collaboration. Just imagine if we had, I grew up in Latchkey, right? I'm born and raised in San Francisco, Latchkey kid, Ocean View Park, now Minnie and Lovey, Jolie Gym, you know. Just imagine if we had, for example, those two gyms, right? All of the resources, all of the organizations, all the programs that they're running throughout those two gyms, right? What if we had something collectively where both of these communities were able to come together? Just imagine that. You have children who live on opposite sides of town that never cross paths because we can't go over there, or because we're not supposed to be on that side, or because this person that's leading this organization wants all of the resources for themselves and they don't want to do the outreach. Outreach means not just in your community, but it's outreaching to every community. And with the reunification, right? I love the fact that you said you guys work with the parents, because their traumas, their triggers, all of those things, they model the behavior, number one, but they pass that toxicity down onto the way that they're raising their children. And we have these children who have so many emotions that they don't even understand why they're having them. And it's because of what's been projected onto them. It's the energy, it's the life source that's been transferred into them, and they don't understand why. Someone posted today, how do you wake your child up in the morning? Simple, right? Oh, I just go in there and get them up. The comments had me baffled. Do you wake your child up with ease, comfort, hey, soft tones? Or are you yelling at the top of your lungs because they missed their alarm? The way you set the tone, there's something simple as that, setting the tone for your child's day. They take that energy out into the world. And then they become vulnerable for people who can manipulate them, who can persuade them.
Yes.
Who can say, oh, you know, you don't ever have to even go back there. I'll take care of you. These are the conversations that lead to trafficking. And the work that you are doing is so imperative. The preventive work that you're doing is so imperative, so they can have that idea of when they hear that serpent in their ear, they can identify what it is. We didn't know we were naked until you told us. I didn't know that I was beautiful, sexy, until you said something. We leave our children vulnerable going out into the world. And because of the trauma that some parents have, they don't even realize that's what they're passing on to their child. Because all you want is the hug. All you want is to be told, job well done.
Yes. Yes. Ayo, you got it.
Yes, you do.
Just to spin off that, okay, a lot of people think that human trafficking and exploitation is like the movie scenes, and they also think that it's in third world countries. So let me just give you guys some information on that. It's not like in the movies. It's a mastermind of manipulation in a stage called grooming, which is what you just described. And so exploiters are waiting for primarily 12, 14-year-olds to run away from home. They'll lure them out with other girls, get into the foster care homes and try to get them out. And as soon as they come out and they're vulnerable and they're crying, they plant a basic essential need in there. Oh, you need a phone. Oh, you need shoes. Oh, you need a house. And they're all nice about it before they turn them out. because they give them everything that they want and they need. And then at the right time, they say, oh, now you owe me something. And that's how it happens. But let me tell you why that happens. That happens because kids are not being nurtured in the home. So they go somewhere else to find the love and the nurturing. We have to listen more to our kids. A lot of the parents that I work with, let me tell you, the parents that I work with, when you get a kid in our home, you think this delinquent child, this runaway child, oh, their parents must be on drugs, or their parents, must be hitting them or abusing them. No, they're righteous. They go to church and they're controlling. Like, it's not what you expect when you go into those homes and you find out what's happening. It's not what the movie scene shows you. And so that child feels like they're suffocating, and and this generation values freedom. So we have to come alongside them and ask questions, not tell, and help them figure it out through those conversations, and let them know how much you love them and how much they can come to you and this and that. Now, yes, you want to hold them accountable, but you can't be on these extremes. And that's what we're finding. The problem is communication barriers. That's it. It's just that. It's just they don't see eye to eye. That's it. So let me tell you some stats. I wrote down some stats because I wanted you guys to know that a few stats. I wanted everybody to know that human trafficking is the second largest growing criminal enterprise in the world. In the world. Second to drug trafficking. The United States is one of the 3 top countries of trafficking, aside from Mexico and the Philippines. And in the United States, the 3 top states is California, Texas, and interchangeably Georgia and Florida. And within California, it's San Francisco, San Diego, and LA. And it's a $9.5 billion industry in the US alone. And in the world, it's $150 billion. And 52% are children. Just stop for a moment and just think about that. 52% are kids, children. And the average age that a child enters into the life is 12 years old.
I got to say this, Jen, because that's heavy, okay? I got to sit in there and process that more. It's a lot of concern there for me. I think we talked about this before with Vanessa here, why it's so hard to move policies and things of that nature. But I want to go back a little bit to what you said, because I think you and I touched on something. We talk about adults. Again, it's going back to the families, that dynamic, the mothers, the fathers. And we know in the Black and brown community, single parent homes is prevalent. When we talk about femininity, and this is why I tell women, it's so important for women to stay out of their masculine energy. Because when women operate in their nurturing spirit, that love that you're talking about, that feeling connected, you only could get that when a woman's in her feminine energy. We have a problem in society right now. When you look at social media and what's going on with the women in the community, these influencers, and we talk about toxic behavior and the loss of that nurturing, because you said it, young people, the kids, they want that love. This is why we deal with so much abandonment issues, because when we have our women in the community operate that masculine energy and not in their femininity, that nurturing goes out the window. Our young girls are looking for that love, that hug, that validation. And when you can't operate in that energy, we lose our community. So how do we increase that with our women? I don't want to get into this women versus men, and we got a whole thing with the fathers that's not there as well. But when we talk about the most influential person in our households, I work with these kids. You talk about, it's society. Our moms are everything. And this is why I go so hard on the women. When we have these relationship conversations, when we're talking about women, I go, hold on. Ladies, you are the power. Mm-hmm. Oh, no, man. No, women are the influence. You listen to the young boys. My mom. It's very rare you hear dad. Young ladies, mom. So if we're not operating in the energy of love, nurturing, caring, comfort, If we can't get this from the women of our community, how do we change that narrative?
It starts with unlearning in our community, especially. We had a conversation not too long ago in comparison to how Black women are raised and how Latin women are raised. Black women are raised to be, for the most part, let me say this, independent, strong, especially growing up in a single parent home. You see, mama, I'm a hustler. You don't need a man for anything. Latin women, nurturing. You take care of your man. You take care of your children. This is the part of the ritual of how you're taught to be a woman. It's a different dynamic. So unlearning that, for one, I can only speak from my experience. My mother is a very nurturing woman. My parents married 53 years. The dynamic in the household was my father's a very masculine man. My mother is a very passive woman. She did all of the nurturing. She did the soft-spokenness. I never saw my parents arguing. So the woman, the model behavior I had was, she was very reserved. She was very kept. She was a lady. She is a lady, excuse me, not was, it's past tense. Sorry, mama, I know you watching. But that's where I got a lot of mine from. Now, going outside of the home, from my experience, the peer influence. You too nice. You too sensitive. You know what I mean? So it's contradicting. I was able to attend an event this weekend, Feminine and Flirty, all women, beautiful women. And it was about learning to embrace your inner woman and femininity and what it means to really be feminine. There's that thing of what the statistic is of, oh, you're in your masculine energy. No, I'm in my defensive energy. It's nothing masculine about it. I have a defense up because I have to wear so many hats, because I have to do so many things. I have to be every person to my child and or family and or husband. I have to be all these things, not to be interdependent, but now I am dependent on only me. These are some things that I learned this weekend, and unlearning what peer influence has had on me. I can only speak for myself. And it, in turn, the way that I know a lot of people say I spoil my kids. I do have 2 boys. I'm a boy's mom. But the way that I pour into them, it shows on who they are when they leave the household. I get nothing but positive accolades from my older son, especially. Respectful. He's so helpful. He has great manners, all of these things. Now, who he is at home with me sometimes, but these are things that we're building these blocks in home. That's why I love and respect the work that you women are doing with the reunification, especially because the parents don't see it as them. And like you said, Jen, it's not the coming from a broken home, coming from, oh, my parents are in the world and all of these things. It is that stereotypical mindset. Oh, well, my mom and dad did it, so you're going to do it this way. You don't have an opinion. You're going to do what I say. This generation of children do not respond to that. Do you know how many times they see it on TV? Call the police or call somebody. Run away. Girl, my mama don't talk to me like that. Or even peer influence. My mama don't talk to me like that. Girl, you can come over here. Now you have a whole other level of undoing for these children. And it's not just the girls who are running away and getting trafficked. I don't think that people even understand that it's actually young men too. The age between 12 and 14 is when you're most vulnerable. You're finding your body, you're going through puberty, and all of these things are changing. So you don't know where to place those emotions, those frustrations, those sexual urges, and all of these things. And we have social media. These children are exposed to so much. And they want to see the glorification. They want to see that instant gratification. So of course it's easy for that serpent to get into their ear and tell them, oh, you want the new J's? That's no problem. I got you. Oh, you want this? Oh, that's no problem. I got you. Oh, well, you remember when I did this for you, right? No, I need you just to go bust this little move for me. And they don't see anything wrong with it the first time. Then the second time, then now you don't want to do it. Now it's becoming physical. Think about that trajectory and how everything leads up to that. Yes, it would be an amazing thing if all women can operate in their full femininity and be secure in that. Because think of those role models for these young ladies. Think of those role models for what their sons are seeing and how they will treat the women that will be their wives. Think of that. But that's not the reality. So having to unlearn as an adult is a challenge. But if we can come and collaborate and have our resources and have organizations like yours coming on this organization, both sides, and giving it out to the community, this is step number one.
Yes, to answer your question about how do we get ahead of that? All of what you're saying, Ayo and John. For me personally, as a survivor of domestic childhood abuse and watching my dad beat on my mom, watch them use drugs, in and out of jail, sexually abused by my stepfather, I was in defense mode for a long time. I just wanted to fight, self-sabotage, all the things, right? For me, it wasn't until, this is where the spirituality comes in. This is why we do praise dance. Wasn't until I learned the plumb line of love, the standard in which God calls me to love myself and love other people, because his greatest commandment is for us to love our neighbor as we love ourselves, but we can't love our neighbor if we haven't first learned to love ourselves. And when we get there, all those insecurities will go away. And then we could get back under the proper position where we're supposed to be in the household.
Wow, that is such a profound statement. And as I'm sitting back, just kind of taking this all in, this is such a heavy conversation. And when you talked about the numbers just on human trafficking, I think sometimes we lose the perspective. Humans have been trafficked for the last 600-700 years for profit, going back to the transatlantic slave trade, and now it's continuing to be done for profit. And it almost seems like it's an overwhelming situation, because there's a part of human greed here that you can't legislate. There's no law that's going to be passed. There's nothing but a true change of heart that has to come through a spiritual resurrection, so to speak. But besides being overwhelmed and thinking about the numbers, I do want to kind of bring it a little bit closer, because y'all have been in the community actively battling against this. Can y'all just talk about maybe a few of the success stories that you guys have been able to see with some of the young people you've worked with, or some of the people you've collaborated with? Because I think sometimes, a lot of times, they get written off as, oh, like, say, whatever they did, they deserved it, or they put themselves in that, and they never seem to break free of that stigma. Can you just speak to a few of the success stories?
That's you, Robin. That's you all day.
I thought my computer said Monica. I've got a long list of success stories, and I am a big believer in celebrating the small steps as much as the big steps, because my story's different to Jen's and similar, and different to my young people's and similar, and they're like, wow, that happens in Australia as well. And it's really, I think the success is about finding that commonality as well. And I remember one of our young people was homeless when I met her. And do you remember how it rained for like 5 months last winter? It was like the memory that I have, and it would not stop raining. But I think I remembered the rain more because the story for this young person was quite desperate, and to help her move I learned about the inner strength that she had that I don't think she realized she had as well. And part of that reality was she was in a hotel. She was not knowing if she was there for 2 days or 3 days. She was trying to move all of her stuff, maintain a job, would wake up each morning not knowing if she was checking out or where she was going to put her stuff in the meantime. And she kept that job. And she kept that strong spirit, and she was waiting patiently for her Section 8 housing and needing support. So within 4 months, she was in her own apartment. What that meant, though, was that it relied on the community. So we were running out of resources of one kind, and Turntable has some interim housing options as well. So she was trusting those options as well, that they would come through, and they did. And she was a big part of it. She was actually trusting me that some people were opening their homes, and it was a really, really special arrangement. But she's now got her own place and moving forward in that. We talk about safe places, John, like for the young person to have their own safe place with their own key that is theirs is the most amazing thing to watch. The hope, the dreams, the healing move forward from, like we talk about safe places of belonging, because we need a safe place in our mind, in our body. We need a safe place in our bedroom, in our home, in our street, in our city. And then hopefully they'll feel like the world might just have some safe places in that for them as well. So there's different stages of that good news story. I have another young woman who she just became a mum, and it's the most beautiful thing to watch her confidence go from strength to strength in that beautiful expression of parenting. She's found a more positive expression of housing for herself as well. I mean, I focus on housing because I really believe it's a foundation, but that's not the only success stories that we have. We're just watching young people use their voice, find jobs, get their driver's license or learner's permit, and on the way to their driver's license, and restoration within themselves, but restoration with family as well, because watching the parent-child dynamic is really powerful. When I feel like Jen and I get to be an extension, like adding, like we're different points to shine light and help the mediation take place in a different way. And so the good news stories is different for everybody as well. And increasing school attendance, reducing probation hours, or not even getting sentenced at all just because they had someone stand alongside them and advocate. Like that was, I told this young woman, I'm like, that's a miracle. I've never seen that happen before. She didn't even get a probation officer in the end. And it's that alongside her work. And so I talk about push and pull factors. They're often experiences that we all either have experienced ourselves or know someone that does, and it's unemployment, it's mental health issues, it's substance use issues, lots of different things. They become the push and pull factors, like the undertow in the ocean, where they can be the reason why someone finds themselves at risk of these experiences, but then it becomes a reason that they get stuck in those experiences as well. So yeah, that's my comment.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Monica, do you have a search and recovery? Search and recovery is so powerful. Success story that we could share here?
I can if you don't. Do you want me to share one?
I mean,
I have to think about one, but go ahead.
Go ahead, Robin.
So we were able to rescue one of our young women from search and recovery from International Boulevard, and she is back at home, doing great. She's actually now going to church as well, but she's joined a new school for a fresh start, and she just got voted as head of the student voice committee for the school as well. So yeah, it's amazing to watch. It's really great.
Well, to back up from there, if I think I know who you're talking about, she was in our program for 12 months. Sure. She was in our 12-month program, right? Robin, is this the one we're talking about? She was in our safe house.
I think she's, yeah, maybe 5 or 6 months. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And she decided, I want to be on the streets. I'm going to leave. And she just bounced. But we used to hold on, but then we believe that we plant enough seeds that eventually they'll come back. We don't have to be the ones to save her. As long as we did our work in the time that she was with us, we know that's enough. She went out there for some time. That was the hardest thing to watch, right, Robin? It was the hardest thing for all of us. Intervention after intervention after intervention, watching her go from street to street, from dude to dude, and she's a child. And then the day came, and she came back.
Wow, I have to give you that. I always say that. You know, I do a lot of mentor work, working with young people incarcerated. I always tell people, if you plant the seeds, the people always ask, when will they change, John? I don't change people. I tell them, I don't change nobody. Okay. All these success. No, I don't change people. We plant seeds and we water those seeds. And sometimes kids come back. They reoffend. Sometimes they make bad decisions. But again, setting that foundation, if you do it right, it's something about when you lay the foundation right, you build the trust, and they understand that you stand on the side of righteous. See, you can't straddle the fence in this work. I keep telling people, when you straddle the fence, we lose a lot of children. But if you stand on one side of the fence and they know you're standing on that side of the fence, and you plant those seeds and you give them the knowledge, the information, and the resources, and the consistency, I mean, it's a high probability rate that they're going to do the right thing. But I want to push it back a little bit here because I want to talk about this. And I know we talked about it backstage before we got on the show about policy and stuff. And I always get in this because I do this work, and we know a lot of young people are victims, are trafficked, and you know, these transitional houses, these group homes, and things of that nature. We have a problem in this country when it comes to group homes. I'm going to speak for San Francisco, but it's we know it's across the country. But in San Francisco, because I'm like, something is not right, and we have to do a better job of these group homes and different things, because I'm saying, and I'm always saying this to the courts, you know, all these kids is running. Okay, part of it is the child, but it's something going on in our group homes and these supplemental housing that is not working with our young people. There's something missing. And this is why I say this work is very special. You have to be a special gifted person. You have to have a connectivity with the higher spirit, our ancestors, and with people. There's something about kids they understand. But I go, look at the rate of our young people who are released from our juvenile detention center, released from these programs to go to these housing opportunities, and they run. There's something not right. I don't know if it's the model. I don't know if it's the leadership. I don't know, but it's something that is not working in these transitional homes. So many of our kids get in these programs, get into more violence. Some get trafficked, some get in them. And I'm saying something's going on. We get them ready. We build them up and they go here. Something in these spaces are not working. How do we help them? I know there's legislative processes going on to make sure all foster care kids get college, all these opportunities, but there's something in the living situation, something in these spaces that we're not getting. And I want to figure this out, and maybe you all can help me now, because I'm trying to figure it out. I talk to kids, different things, but it's something, and this goes back to the safe space. Something is not right when you have that many young people running from these spaces that's supposed to be safe, elevating, enriching. I don't know, but maybe y'all can help me, because I gotta ask. I've figured this out.
I think with a lot of those places, I think when it comes to legislation and policy, there should be stricter backgrounds for people who are able to open up these group homes, because from my experience and knowing people who had to go through those transitions, they're in for the money. Every kid that rotates through that door is a paycheck. So you lose focus on what you started it for and the empathy that you're supposed to have for these children, and having the group home, more beds, more bodies, more bucks.
I mean,
Having a safe space, I think, for the safe houses that you guys run, are they just specifically for San Francisco, or are they Bay Area wide? Or do children have access, to your safe homes? Because it seems like, when just speaking with you three women and reading up and looking at your website and divulging into a little bit more of your bios, that you guys have the empathy and the compassion, not only because of your own story and experience, but just because that's what's in you. I think that people need to have that when opening up these group homes and organizations or transitional homes for children, and getting them ready for adulthood, especially those who are transitioning from 17 to 18, and they have to, they get timed out. What happens to the aftercare after they're timed out?
That's
Where
what
are these spaces?
it's right there. It's aftercare. This is what Robin and I have been pitching for funding for, that we can't seem to get the funding for. You can have all the empathy and compassion in the world, but you're not going to keep them confined behind the four walls. And Robin and I say that most of the work actually happens after they leave. We have to be willing to run after them. We can't.
Which is why I run.
Where Robin comes in, this is why it's a dynamic duo here, because the thing is we have to meet them where they are and stop expecting them to meet us where we are.
And
wait a second. Say that again, because this is the problem in our community. See, Jen, I keep telling these executive directors.
So can I say it different? We need to stop saying, come over here.
We have to meet people where they at. And I say, well, meet people where they at is not in your office, okay? Because I'm in these meetings, and I'm yelling and screaming, and I'm in there with some elected officials, different people. I go, the heck are you guys talking about? Everybody's talking about, we got to meet people where they at. Well, where y'all meeting these people? Because everybody's talking about, you got to come to my office. Every time I meet someone, hey, John, come to my office. Well, your office is down on the waterfront at the Bay Bridge. I want to come where the people are. I need you to meet people in the community. If we can't change that model, we're never going to change the problem in this city. And I keep telling them, mental health, bring the truck, the RV, the mobile van, put the therapist in the van, bring them in the hood where we need them. Because coming down to my office down in Market Street, coming down to Pier 39, coming to St. Francis Wood to my office is not where we meeting people at. Get them in the community. Get them with the people. I need the services where the problems is. I was at a meeting today. I just told you on the opening. They're having a meeting. We're talking about police accountability. We're talking about the issues in our community. They're having the meeting at Embarcadero. If we have the statistics, if we have the reports that most of these issues is in this community, why are we not in this community having the community meeting?
Because they really don't want to solve the problem. Come on, let's be honest, y'all. I'm sure, I don't remember the young lady's name, but there was a young lady who was being trafficked, actually stood up to defend herself, and ended up going to prison because she killed the man who was sexually assaulting her. Mm-hmm. When you have a system that is that ass backwards, of course, young people are looking at this saying it don't make sense. They don't know who to trust. And the people are using good people like these ladies here who are on the front lines as a buffer to keep the people at bay. Yeah, we'll tell y'all, we'll do a little something. We might give you a little bit of money, but they really don't want to solve the problem. It's people in the community who know what the answers are, but they're not coming to the community. They're not putting the resources in the hands of the community. They want to control everything through policy and politicians to keep us in a position of struggling and fighting to solve problems that if we had the resources, we could do it ourselves. Mm-hmm. This is what we're challenged with. So I commend all three of you ladies and everybody who's on the front lines working, because I know it's not easy when you have to go to politicians to beg them to release money so you can do what you know needs to be done. It shouldn't be like that. And this is why our children are having a hard time buying into trusting the system.
But Brother Mark, I gotta say this too, because I gotta say this, and this is not to be on the side of the politicians. We got accountability issues in our community because there's a lot of money coming into our community, but we got gatekeepers. We got our own internal oppressors in our community. I'm not gonna say it's enough money to cover all the problems, but how do we hold those folks accountable? Because there's resources. I keep hearing people say there's no money, and I'm arguing every day louder and louder because I'm in these spaces and I'm looking at these numbers and I'm looking at these grantees and I'm looking at these organizations and I'm saying, hey, it ain't enough money to change all of the problems. But wait a second, there's some money out there. There's some opportunities. How do we as community hold the gatekeepers accountable? How do we hold
circumvent them
who do get access to the resources to make sure they're doing their part? Community, stand with me because we got some issues within our community. Before we can hold our elected officials accountable, before we can place blame, we got to do some work in our community because we got some folks in our community that's not doing the right thing. It's a lot of greed, it's a lot of oppression, it's a lot of gatekeeping going on in our community, and we got to stand up against it. We have to be the ones to hold these folks accountable for their actions and the work that they're doing, because they're also the problem in the overall scheme of things.
Well, I think that has to go back to old school mafia tactics. Now, again, I'm not going to advocate for nothing illegal, but there was an understanding when there was an organization in the community run by the community, they kept politicians and gatekeepers in check because you knew you was going to have to see somebody because you was in the community too. Now the people who are trying to be gatekeepers, they're not even in the community. So you can't hold them accountable. Yeah, they're going to be across town. They'll make a phone call, send an email, but they not there. The people who are front lines on the ground are the ones who have to organize and deal with the issues in community. And we have to hold ourselves accountable for that.
Well, we strategically partner with Monica, and this is your realm, Monica. Tell them.
Yes. So as an elected official, so when I'm not working with Love Never Fails, I am a councilwoman in the city of Antioch. As you know, Antioch has stuff going on. And we really look, me as a council person, I'm just kind of talking me as a council person, I depend on the public. I depend on hearing what they say and what their needs are. I'm the elected official that lowered the ages for our youth to be on our commissions because sometimes their ideas are better than ours. But yeah, you definitely have to hold elected officials accountable. I was the first person on my council to talk about human trafficking, and I had people in the community tell me, "Shut the F up, you're scaring people." But I'm like, we need to scare people. So not all elected officials are not doing anything. We are creating policy. I brought a lot of policy to the city of Antioch, especially around trafficking, especially around these motels that these young women and young men are being trafficked through. I brought up policy around these illegal massage establishments that are right across the street from our schools to make sure that they're safe. I brought up policy around mental health and making sure our mental health response team goes where the situation is happening or where somebody is struggling. So I just had to say that because I'm like, I'm an elected official, dude. I don't want to change the topic, but we have to.
You're one of the good ones, Ms. Yeah. Monica. Let me ease up my stance a little bit. I do understand that there are a lot of wonderful people in the elected positions, even within the church. I used to be a pastor years ago. I left the church because of the politics and BS I saw happening in a lot of these institutions. I never left God, didn't stop loving people, but a lot of institutions have been put in place and structured to keep control over communities. And it's a colonial system that operates even within the United States in a lot of areas. There's everything from redlining to food deserts. And a lot of things happen that disproportionately affect disenfranchised and poor communities that are intentional, pushed through policy. And a lot of good people who want to make change, they find once they get into office, and I'm sure you've had some of these where you've tried to get things moved up and you were told, hey, that's not a priority. Or, hey, be quiet. We ain't trying to deal with that because we've got our own agenda.
I push back.
Yeah, and again, we want to support elected officials like yourself because we need you guys. And I know a lot of people there, they may be anti-establishment. I'm neither anti nor pro. I'm just taking an honest observation
Yeah.
of what
I
we
understand.
see historically has gone on in our country nationwide. There are a lot of good people who want to be in position, but once they get in the position, they find that what it takes to stay there or operate in it is more than what the outside public knows. And so I commend you for standing in the gap for the community, and I hope you're able to get much more done and find more like-minded people.
I'm
Yeah,
glad you said that.
I just want to, and something you said, I just want to caution, and I get why you said you walked away from the church you're with. I just want to caution people this is where we as a community, I'm sorry, I'm getting off topic, need to not walk away, because we need our voices there. We need to stand up, and we need to bring people with us, because what happens when people get discouraged, then they don't vote. And then you get the person that you don't want in office, and you sit at home and you're sulking and you're mad, and then you have to blame yourself. Why didn't So I encourage people not to walk away, to really push and make policy happen. I mean, the first policymaker I knew in my life was my mom, and she talked about growing up in segregated South Carolina. There was no colored pool, as she told me. So she went around and got knocked on doors in her neighborhood trying to get everybody to vote, register to vote and vote for this pool. She said the pool lost by 2 votes. She said she felt she didn't lose because she got more people out to vote. And so she said, we didn't get the pool, but more people were registered to vote. So when they bought the pool back up again, there was enough of them to make it pass. Got off topic there, but I'm just
no, Miss Monica, see, you're going political on me now. Okay, I know you're an elected official. Listen, this is both sides of the conversation, Queen. This is about authentic conversation. This is our Hidden Gem segment. This is about you all. Okay, we're not here to. This is not CNN. We don't create conversation. This is about authentic. Okay, authentic conversation for our community. So there's no off topic, right? The beginning was about narrating where we going, what you all do, but this is community. Okay, I got community folks listening, and we got to talk about all this stuff. I know we don't have enough time to cover it, but never on this show do you have to say I'm getting off topic, because every topic is important to my community. But I give you courage and I uplift you for being an elected official, because I'm gonna tell you, you're a brave woman. Everybody's telling me, John, you need to run for supervisor. You need to do this. I said, I don't want to deal with these politics. I'm gonna tell you, I was already working with some organizations to do legislative work, and let me just tell you, I just appreciate you, because I started seeing what was going on, and I said, I can't associate with this. Okay, when we have senators who are not reading the bills, when we have folks who are not willing, when there's mistakes made, to go back and rewrite what's going on. I mean, it's terrible. Okay, I'm just being honest.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah,
talk about it.
Go ahead. We gotta talk about this, because I get frustrated. I had to remove myself. I said, hold on, y'all are not about to use me as a community organization to work with your legislative aides to put in a policy that doesn't represent my community. I can't do that. And they don't even read it. They don't even. I said, did you read the bill? Do you understand what you're
trying to do? We have to. I mean, a perfect example, SB 14. I don't know if everybody was following that the governor had to bring back. So SB, a lot of people don't realize that human trafficking is not a serious crime. It's not a felony. And so SB 14 was correcting that to make it a felony, because right now a lot of these traffickers will go to jail for a year or two and then they're back out on the street. So this bill was correcting that. And some of the policymakers disagreed with portions of the bill and didn't want to pass it through to the governor. It took the governor to come back and say, no, this is a no-brainer. We need to make this pass. One of the people actually 2 of the members of the committee, 2 of the members who were on the committee that originally weren't going to pass this bill on to the assembly to go to the governor, called me and said, hey, everybody said a lot about human trafficking, and I talked to them about it, and I said, at the end of the day, the people that we work with, the survivors, the victims that we work with, they want good bills passed that protect them. They don't care if it's a Republican, a Democrat, a progressive, a liberal, a moderate, a conservative. They could care less about that. They want good policy that supports them, that uplifts them, and is there for them. I think a lot of our bills that are going through through the Assembly and the Senate need to add more resources, need to add more funding to help, because a lot of times it stops right at it. It just kind of doesn't come all the way. It's a good start, but it doesn't get all the way. But there's a lot we need to do in state level, whether it's in the Assembly or the state Senate. But yeah, it took a bunch of people to reach out to these Assembly members to say, you're wrong. You need to rethink this bill. And this is why you need to rethink this bill. So I want to just put that out there about, some of these people being corrected. And then a couple did say they were wrong, and they ended up passing that on to the governor, and the governor signed it into law.
I'm gonna call out Senator. No, let me stop. So I've done some work, and I want to say this because I don't want to make it sound like all these folks are not doing it. Let me just tell everybody, okay? Y'all know a couple of weeks ago I did go to the 52nd Congressional Black Caucus. Okay, there is some phenomenal young people that are working with our legislators to get some phenomenal bills passed to help our community. So I do want to say that there's some things happening. But again, to change the system, we have to change a lot of things in the system that is not working. When we talk about term seating, when we talk about these lifetime seats, I mean, these are the real conversations that we have to get on the ballot as a country to make changes. And I know these changes are going to impact the Constitution. Yes, I said it. We must rewrite the Constitution. Okay. People get mad. They get offended. I get threats, emails. What are you talking about? This is the founding part of our country. I said, that's the problem, okay? We got to rewrite the Constitution. We got to get term seatings. We got to get these lifetime federal judges off these lifetime federal seats. We all see,
and individual bills too.
Yeah,
because they need to stop attaching all that extra stuff. When they get a good bill that needs to go through, they need to stop being able to attach all that other stuff that's going to get it knocked down. They need to stop that.
But that's the politics. But, we have to change it, and again, Feinstein is a very trailblazer, phenomenal woman. But again, when we have elected officials holding these seats for 30 years, tragic stuff happens. And sometimes, they don't even understand. This sometimes kills their legacy, okay? There's a lot of phenomenal things that these senators sometimes go through. And then it's those one highlighted moments that just ruin their legacy. And it's unfortunate. And, very tragic stuff. Real quick, I just want to stop real quick and just say breaking news for folks that know. They got an active shooter situation in Baltimore, Maryland at one of the colleges. Number of multiple victims right now. Again, this gun violence in our community is very tragic. Our prayers out to the situation as is unfolding. We'll get folks information out. But again, an active shooter situation, multiple victims in Baltimore at one of the universities in Maryland. Very, very tragic to hear that. Again, we still got these conversations coming up at the end of this month, next month, about gun violence in our community. Again, another active shooter situation. So just wanted to put that out there to the community that's happening. If you have loved ones and folks in that Baltimore, Maryland area or at the university, make sure you check on your loved ones. But we'll get ready to wrap it up. I know it's been long. I know Robin's on the East Coast, got to go to sleep. I understand the time zone. I'm still trying to get back to my time zone. But a couple of things before we leave, because it's very honorable that you all are here. We want to continue. I'll tell Vanessa, we'll continue to find ways to partner and work with you all and help make sure that we get the information to the community. But again, I want to go back to Robin because I think the turntable house was one of the things I wanted to talk about. And I hear you, Robin, and I agree with you that housing is a big part of when we don't have stability in housing, it leads to so many, different intersections that impact folks. What does that fight look like, and how do we amplify this housing need and this understanding, especially here in San Francisco, as everybody know, the highest housing market across the country. Folks just can't afford to live here. And sometimes, like you said, not having stable housing sometimes lure people into bad situations because they're just looking to get off the streets. Sometimes it's money, but different things. But this housing thing, talk about the turntable housing and just the real impact of it as a community as we get ready to wrap up tonight. Because I think that's something that I really want to highlight, because I think folks across the country and here in the Bay Area need to understand how much impact when a person doesn't have stability in housing, young people, families, adults, how does it impact the work and the things that you all are doing?
It is very hard to keep a job. It's very hard to keep yourself together when you even get to school. If you're displaced, it's hard to focus on the job, focus at school when you don't know where you're staying the next night, or if you're in a state of flux. So they might have a place to stay. I listen to a lot of the young people and they say, I'm staying at, which is so different to where I live. If you're staying at someone's place, it's temporary. If you live somewhere, you can drop your shoulders and relax a bit. And a lot of us talk about, well, I'm staying at someone's place. And so I think someone was talking about when we've have had a lived experience, we can speak to and help our young people and anyone we support. We can speak out of that place with a greater authority. I think my own experiences of being displaced over and over again, sometimes living out the trunk of my car, I'm like, where is that? I swear I know where it was. And like all that displacement is as much as like our belongings, as much as ourselves in that sense. And so the impact of that, why it's so important, is then I see a lot of my young people, they think that there's something wrong with them. They think like they're slow or they're not intelligent. And they're not connecting the reality of what the trauma is and being on the go and being hyper vigilant all the time. And so watching when we help them, we're a new nonprofit. We launched in the pandemic. We're small but mighty, and developing some very tailored models for and options for our young people. So some of our young people, you've heard about Section 8 housing, so we'll coach and support them and go the distance. I feel like getting Section 8 housing is a system that sets our young people up to fail as well. They feel like they just can't get it. And when they do, that success is huge. But that's not a possibility for all of our young people. Or some of our young people are much younger developmentally, and they might be 18 or 19, but because of trauma, they might be emotionally 15, 16. They need to live with somebody as a live-in mentor. And so that's a specific model that I'm starting in the Bay Area, that I worked with young offenders and child protection and bringing that specific housing model from Melbourne, Australia to here. And we haven't got that set up yet, but we're working on that. And then independent housing is important, where they get their own lease and have a coach, which is why mobile case management is so important, because they're like, I want to be an adult. And then they're like, turn 18 and realize adulting's hard. I don't get a day off. I've got to do it every day. So one of the observations I've noticed is, we have a housing crisis, and we have, because it's a positive thing in our city that we are very tenant friendly, but I'm noticing a lot of landlords are very, very scared to lease. And so there's actually a lot of empty properties in San Francisco. I'm starting to build some relationships and trust with landlords and realtors, where they are letting Turntable become a partner with them for housing. So we're actually creating housing options for some of our young people to access housing that there's no way this person would have rented to an 18 or 19-year-old, but they trust the vision and mission of Turntable. So we're just trying to be creative and work at that. And it's very, very hard work. And I am a trained therapist as well, and I've really loved your perspective about bringing the therapist. And I liked the RV van idea. I might do that, but now I know why I'm so busy, John, because I'm in these neighborhoods in my car, building relationships with the families and the young people, and literally just making myself available in that sense. And some of the home visits I do with the young people, again, helps them with their social anxiety, and watching our young people access therapy along with housing is pretty profound, but a lot of them are not ready for that as well. So we also prioritize developing the independent living skills, because it doesn't stop at just getting the house. They need to learn how to budget and financial management. They need to learn how to meal plan and cook and realize the connection between their diet and their mental health and their emotions at times. I really would love to get my wilderness adventure therapy program up and running as well, so that we can see once they have the housing, these other options and programs that we can collaborate with, they would have a greater success at showing up to school as well, and the other programs, because we've got so many programs in our city and so many great things going on, and stabilizing that home base is very important to me. So there's lots of different ways to come at the housing conversation. The way we do it is not the answer, the one-stop shop to the answer to homelessness and housing for Tay, but it's a good contribution to that, and I hope we can continue to grow in the years to come.
I want to add something to that really quick, just because I work intimately with Robin. Remember we were talking about the community housing programs and then our safe houses and 12-month programs, 18-month programs. Well, I think of Turntable as the aftercare catch. Like, we can't just put someone through a program and then just let them go.
Leave them. Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, who's going to hold their hand next? And then after that, who's going to hold their hand next? And then after that, who's going to hold their hand next, right? So I think of Turntable as a linkage to some of these other programs, that once they are released from the program and those seeds have been planted, now Robin can snatch them up and help them get into independent living with all these wraparound services where they're learning things real time. With all the pressure.
It's not glamorous. I do the alongside of work that is not glamorous, but I have to show up, and it's the power of consistent care. And I wish, I know this is going to pull at you, I wish I could raise as much money for consistent mobile case management as I can when I need to go rescue a young woman. I can raise that money real quick to do that, and we need that money. We need it all. But I don't want them to get to the point where they're at the edge of the cliff and we have to do that stuff. This prevention work and the therapeutic responses and prevention is so much more important, because we know what we already have people we're rescuing, so we know that the other young people as well. I don't want them to get to that point where it's that bad that we have to do that. I want to come up with I know Jen and I call it aftercare. I want to come up with a different term, because I don't ever want to stop caring. No one should stop caring.
It's not a checkbox.
Yeah.
I mean, there you have it. I'm glad you highlight that, because this is my passion. This is why I get so frustrated. I get so passionate in these meetings. Let me tell you, they kick me out of meetings all the time because they know I got some great ideas. I tell them, listen to me. But I keep telling folks, and I'm glad you said it, it's too much reactive work in these grants. We need more preventative and intentional work before the reactive work. That investment have to be there. I keep saying it on this platform. Sooner or later, what are these senators? What are these elected officials? They're going to hear the bishop. I keep telling them.
Here. Monica's here.
I keep telling them. We are going to have to invest in mental health as much as we did with COVID, until this country understand that mental health is just as bad as this COVID pandemic. And if we don't change the policies around therapists, giving them early educational credits, getting these young people out of trying to collect all these hours and get them working in the community, if we don't make that type of investment, we are headed down a very dark road when we talk about mental health and services. We have to do this, community. We have to knock on our legislative folk. They are going to have to make that investment. It's going to be a commitment. That's okay, right. It's too much money, millions of dollars in crisis response. See, I hate these terms to wrap around. I don't like it. Okay, but I like it, the handoff, because it's a soft handoff, and I don't know if these handoffs are happening so soft in our community. But this crisis response, it's the chronic mental health that is really deteriorating our community. Okay, this stuff for the police not shooting people in crisis response. I'm just tell y'all like this. I keep telling them the amount of money we invest in crisis response. We could put 10 therapists in each one of our communities every day to work with our community. We got to get mental health in our community. Again, I'm going to say it, community, whatever it takes. If it's mobile, we cannot have mental health services come to the hospital, come to the nice neighborhood. I want it in my community. I need the trucks to pull up. I want them to pull up Ray and Pookie right on the block. Hey, come here. Get on the bus. I'm going to put you in this space here. We're going to talk right here. I don't want them to have to go far. Every time they have to think that they have to leave from the environment that sometimes they are trapped in, unfortunately.
Yes.
That's one less step towards the mental health support. I want the trucks in the community. We can have bomb squad trucks. We can have battle ram truck. Every truck for everything in our community. But when it comes to mental health, we can't get it. Why we can't? Let's find a way. I'm looking for all my mental health organizations, all of the folks, all of the foundations. Figure out, how do we get a mental health mobile vehicle to go to the community that's impacted the most? We need it more than ever. Let's do it, community. Let's find out. All of these people that call themselves allies and we want to help the community. We know that this is an issue, because I'm going to tell you what I'm tired of too. I'm tired of going to all these meetings with all these statistics and everybody know what's wrong. I go, why y'all telling me all this? I already know the numbers. I already know black and brown folks are at the bottom of the list. What are we doing? Where's the commitment? We already know it's a problem. Who's putting the money up? Where's these foundations at? Where's all these folks who believe in change and change the narrative of mental health? I want those people. Let's get them in a meeting. Let's figure out, how do we build 10, 12 of these mental health mobile vehicles? How do we fill them with professional therapists and counselors? Pull up in the community. I want them at the school. I'm tired of going to funerals. And I just told somebody the other day, let me tell you the most disappointing thing. I got all these people talking about, yeah, John, I do mental health. Everybody want to brag. Oh, I'm a mental health therapist. I work for where we do mental health. I go to the young person funeral, and I'm looking around. I got all these young people going up to the mic for their 2 minutes. They're emotional. They're going through stuff. They angry. They want to hurt somebody. And I said, right now, see, when we talk about meet people where they at, I said, where's the therapist at in this funeral? We got kids pouring their heart out. They depressed. They dealing with anxiety. They telling you right here, where's our mental health? But see, this is the problem. Everybody want to work 9 to 5. We can't work 9 to 5 in mental health. We need 24-hour care. I keep telling people,
let me
the
tell you
community don't stop at 5 o'clock.
Let me tell you something about working 9 to 5. By the way, Vanessa had that vision, so now when she listens to this, she's going to probably do it, because she's been contemplating that. But one little short story. So when we started doing the workforce development program, where we had a lot of people in the underserved communities come and get tech certificates, and then we would work in getting internships. So they would go out there and they would work good jobs, tech jobs that they normally couldn't get. When we put them out there and they started to get hired, we saw them get discriminated against like that in the corporations. And then Vanessa and I went back and powwowed. And so here's what we did. I was the life coach at the time. So I said, I'm going to go to that organization and I'm going to sit next to that employee and I'm going to experience what they're experiencing, why they're coming back to us and say they're about to have a nervous breakdown in their first 30 days of working. So I go in there, I sit there the whole day, and I find out that the race in the organization is predominantly an 80% one race, and they're isolating this woman by herself, and we're all going around and she's sitting here, and then they're throwing easy work at her, acting like she's dumb and she don't have any sense. And I saw all this and I said, who told you that they wanted diversity and inclusion in this organization? And so what we found out is that they said they want people of color in the organization and they want to increase their numbers, but they weren't ready. And so Vanessa created a program called REDI, R-E-D-I, Racial Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion, to now say, when these people graduate from the program and you want to hire them, you have to go through our training so we can make sure you're ready to receive them.
So let me tell you something, Jen. Let me tell you something, because you're about to erupt the volcano, because I've been saying it on this platform. See, this is why I'm so powerful. This is why they always trying to shut my voice up. I'm going to tell you about this diversity, inclusion, all this BS. It ain't real. It's very performative, okay? They don't want this stuff. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, Okay, I'm being real. I work for one of the largest institutions in California. Okay, I understand this corporate environment. I'm gonna tell you right now, the most racist, discriminatory, hateful folks is in these higher institutions in this corporate world. I'm gonna just tell you, it is terrible what goes on in these corporations. The environments are more toxic sometimes in the community environments. I'm just gonna be real. Let me tell you, but they just do it on a corporate level. But the amount of bullying, the amount of things that take place with harassment at work, discriminatory practice, the declusion, because there's no inclusion. I'm gonna just tell you, I watch corporations, I see it. They click very cliquish in corporations. Oh, yeah, you're not part of click. Oh, let me tell you. So again, I always tell these people, I'm part of some engagement and community diversity groups. They always want to hear from me. I just tell them like this: don't come talking to me about equity, inclusion, and diversity until I see people in your boardrooms, your upper management, your HR. If I don't see people of color in those spaces, don't come talk to me about what you want to do. I'm about action, because I'm going to tell you the most discriminatory practices in our HRs and most of these community, these corporations. The discrimination starts right at the Human Rights Resources Department. We got to change that. This is why I tell people, if human resources is the incoming flux of people in your organization, and none of those folks are of color, that's your problem. Because I look around, all these top Fortune 500, and I say, look at the board. How do you want inclusion? I don't see any of your leadership. None of the leadership even looks like none of the community. Don't tell me that you're inclusive. It's all performative. And then you have to watch the larger organizations, the ones that really hire, 30, 40,000 people, okay? They hide behind diversity. Oh, well, we have this group of people, right? Because of the numbers, they're so large. But when you look at the people that's impacted, it don't represent. I'm telling you, I had to make a lot of noise, okay, to get Black folks in my organization. Let me tell you, I did a lot of work. I had a lot of pushback. I had a lot of people, upper level, upper leadership, mad because I called them out. Don't tell me about what it looks like in my experience as a Black man inside this institution, because I walk around and I don't see people that don't look like me. I don't know where you've been at. Maybe you've been in your office too long. Have you walked the hallways? See, I know when there's a level of people that look like me. You start walking down the hall, you see people. When you don't see people, when you can walk from the bathroom to your office, when you go to the cafeteria, when you go here and there, you don't see people that look like you. You're not so diverse. You're not so inclusive. You got to check your practices, but we got to train them. I'm glad you said that. And shout out to Vanessa for creating that. I think more of these institutions, especially the leadership, we need to educate them about what that looks like. And this is why I tell people about jumping on these acronyms. Oh, diversity, inclusion. Oh, it's all performative. Show me in your actions. See, we all make things look good so we can say that this box we covered. But does it really look like that? Does it feel? So I'm part of the reason why a lot of these folks that I'm working with, some of these corporations, they are now doing these reviews of their staff and asking, how do you feel at work? Do you have a friend at work? Do you feel like, your culture is represented? Because I'm going to tell you, when it comes to Black and brown folks, we ain't represented. They don't want to hear from us. We don't get the same access. We don't get the same opportunities. And I'm going to tell you, I saw it from HR. I used to go off on these people. I say, hey, I've watched y'all hire 10 managers, 10 people that didn't have the qualification, but you all made an investment to make sure that they got the knowledge and education to get there. So how come when these Black folks come in there, as soon as they don't meet one criteria, oh, they don't have the qualifications? See, it's all about the process. Again, we got work to do, community. This is why I say I welcome all my allies. You're welcome here. Come on, listen. But don't be an ally to hear what's going on and not be reactive and acting to input and make change. And we about changing narrative. So if you're an ally, you want to be a part, I want to see this change, you be the change. Speak out. All my HR folks, make sure you bringing in some of the people of color in your organization. All of the folks that do sensitivity training, inclusion, diversity training, make sure you hold them accountable, because I'm going to tell you the other game. See, they pay for all of these people to come in and they do their inclusion training and diversity stuff. But like you said, follow up afterwards. They walk out the door, the organization still doesn't hire those folks. But on paper, they say, hey, we've done all of this inclusion training. We've educated our community, our staff about this and these biases, but it still doesn't happen. So the follow-up is real. But I'm gonna get off that tangent because I know we got to get out of here. I could go all night. But again, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. I'm happy to be here with you. Vanessa, you've done a great job. You have some phenomenal folks within your organization that's making a change. I appreciate it. I love you all for this. This is what I'm talking about. This is getting me excited. See, when there's good people, when there's righteous people, when there's people that are fighting in resilience to bring a change in the narrative, I get excited because I don't know about these other people. I got some problems with these other people, but I wanted to put that out there. But with that being said, because we got to get out of here. It's late. I'm getting called. Get off the air. You're taking too long. We got to get out of here. But what I got to do is this. Before we leave every show, we always want to make sure each one of our panelists gives an opportunity to give something to the community. When we talk about follow-up and all of this, for the folks who may tuned in late, I want you guys, each one of you, to give something to the community that they could take away. We know this human trafficking is real. We know love never fails is part of the change and making sure that folks are aware and educated and have the resources for the families, for the mothers, for the young people that are listening. I want each one of you to leave something to them, some hope, some inspiration, some opportunity. We'll get your information on the screen. Community, reach out to them. Check out what they have going on. Phenomenal organization. Parents, mothers, nurturing mothers. Send the kids off right. Wake them up well. Give them the love. We need love in our community. Love never fails. Okay, all right. All right. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. I'm going to start with you, Robin. We're going to work from the left to the right. This is your time, Robin, okay? Give any shots out, because I don't want people to accuse you all of coming here and they go, I was Robin. She was my mentee. Okay. Make sure before you speak, Robin, give your shout outs. Okay. To your husband, your family, your mothers, your whoever. Don't leave anybody behind before we leave tonight. Make sure you uplift them because I don't want them to say, how dare you go on both sides of the conversation. And I walked you through this process. I was there when you wanted to give up. Go ahead and give some love to the people before we get out of here.
We'll be here for a while for all those people. Well, I do want to give a shout out to Jen. Jen and Vanessa specifically have been so important to my formation in this work. We've dreamed together for a very long time, and it was fun to even hear some of Jen's reflections on years past and look where we're at. We're building, we're going, we're growing. And I do want to give a shout out to my board. Really, really do support me a lot in being the crazy cat that I am, wanting to see these things happen. But crazy is good, and getting in good trouble is a good thing. I want to encourage everyone that your story matters. It is no mistake. The grandparents, the parents, the aunties, the uncles, the people that have invested in you, or the things that have happened to you, your story really matters, and there is space to be heard. And I encourage you all to look after that inner self, that inner, not just the inner child, but that inner self, that strong, resilient person. And I also want to encourage, we've talked a lot about nurturing mothers, but there are some amazing dads out there too. And the power and the importance of the input that you put, if you don't even have children, you are an important adult and role model to somebody younger. So I encourage you to connect with your own story and share that with others. And that story give someone else courage to start believing that their story might matter as well.
Wow, very powerful words. Thank you for giving that to the community. I always say the vulnerability is so important. Your testimony is the testimony that changes the lives of people. When they hear you tell your story, there's somebody out there that resonates and say, hey, if she has the courage or if he has the courage to speak up, this happened to me. Change really happened with communication. So thank you again for being here, Robin. If there's any events, any flyers, information that you need us to get out to help get out to the community, please send it over to us here at Both Sides of the Conversation so that we can make sure that our community, our folks get access to those resources and services. And again, thank you for being here. Thank you for being patient. I know you're on the East Coast, so thank you for
Absolutely. Like I said, it's a pleasure. No worries.
You're a trooper. You're a trooper. All right, Miss Jen, you are here. You didn't even talk about your life reboot. You know, I need to learn more about this because, you know, I think I'm a workaholic. I think I'm a community holic. I think I'm too many holics. I'm just not an alcoholic, okay? But I'm all the other holics, okay? But, you know, same thing, same question for you. One, just give out any shout outs to anybody that you want to acknowledge, because I always want to make sure that our panelists get an opportunity to shout out those folks, any businesses, any other ventures that you are on, because we want to make sure community know this is the purpose of this Hidden Gem show, to make sure our community know what's going on with you, your organization. But share some love and then give some great parting words to our community that's listening tonight.
Well, first and foremost, I just want to shout out to all you guys, for the three of you, for just being here late night, you know, after hours, and just raising awareness and hosting us and really engaging in that conversation. I had fun. This is like the first interview where I really had fun. Like, I usually don't like these things. So thank you. Shout out to my family for putting up with me when I'm gone all the time or I'm working all the time, and just supporting me, you know, every step of the way. You mentioned Life Reboot. So really quick, that's kind of my side gig. So Life Reboot is a life purpose program that empowers men and women to walk in the fullness of their purpose. And that is one of the reasons I left corporate. I was making a lot of money at corporate, but it wasn't doing what it should be doing for me. And I left and I started the Life Reboot program to help people find their purpose. And it's cleanse me, prepare me, send me. Cleanse me, prepare me, send me. And so it starts, I always tell people, it starts with, pretend like you're building a house. The house represents your legacy, and everybody starts to build the house and the house falls, and they wonder why the house falls. And they're like, okay, I'm going to start to build it again. And they build it again, and then the house falls. It's because they haven't set the foundation. You have to take the time to be still with yourself. And the one thing I want to tell people, I just want to say one thing: heal, because your children deserve the best version of you. And that's it.
Wow, very powerful. Community, mothers, fathers, leaders, did you hear that? Heal, do your work. Oh my goodness, that's the word right there. Well, thank you for your work, and you're right, to have anything sustainable, you need a foundation, but you also need to know how to read the blueprint. Okay. I'm just giving you a hard time. I always give people a hard time. But thank you again for being here. Thank you to your family. And again, Life Reboot. If you're looking for your purpose, if you're having trouble finding out what did God ordain me to do, I don't know. I always tell people, I don't know how I got here. God just told me I got to do this. I don't know. But if you're looking for that, here's the coach that can coach you in the right direction. I just wake up every day. I don't know. I listen and I get in tune. And something happens. And next thing you know, I'm marching and I'm stepping and I'm standing. I don't know. It's a lot. But thank you, Jen, for the work you're doing. And again, same thing like Robin, if there's any support that we could help you with, if there's an event or something that you need that we can help get out to the community to make sure folks show up to be present, we'll definitely do that. Make sure you reach out to us, send any flyers to events@bsltc.org, and we'll make sure we get them on our social media and make sure we engage our community, get it on our announcements so folks know what's going on and how to connect. We don't want people in our community walking around I didn't know this was going on. I didn't know how to connect. That's the purpose of reading out all of those events before the show, so folks could go back and listen and know where things are and how to get connected. So thank you again for your dedication and your work. And again, a great job that you're doing with Love Never Fails. Last but not least on our panel tonight, the elected official, the policy writer. Yeah. Queen, you are here. Miss Monica, talk to the people. Give your shout out.
Well, first, thank you for having us all on tonight. I didn't know what to expect, and this is really fun. I just looked at the clock and saw the time. I'm like, really, we've been on for this long? But thank you again for having us. I have to thank Jen and Robin. It's been great working with them and doing the work that they're doing in San Francisco, and just being that good support system for them to make sure that the services are getting out there. Definitely want to thank Vanessa for believing in me and hiring me, and doing the work that she's doing. I also want to say thank you to Jen, and this is something Vanessa. I'm so glad that she does that. Vanessa cares about the employees' mental health, so we have these check-ins with Jen, and it has done wonders for me doing my check-ins with her. So thank you so much, because yes, for us to, as Jen was saying earlier, for us to help others, we need to make sure we're okay. And so love the fact that we have that. Also, just want to make sure everybody knows we are going to be at the DKI event on Saturday. We're going to be tabling. We'll have information there. We're going to be there speaking to people. Jen will be there, but she's going to be there with her program members. But I will be there along with some staff from Love Never Fails. So we'll be there to answer questions, to help people get connected to resources. So please, please, please visit our table. And I may get in trouble for this one, but I'm going to just throw it out there. I'm running for state assembly, so be on the lookout for monicaforassembly.com. Thank you.
Now, why would you say you'll get in trouble? That's something powerful. Community. Another Black woman, another trailblazer. Again, shout out to the governor for making the decision to put a Black woman in that seat. And I just want to say, I know they got their issues with Governor Newsom, but it's very powerful. And I just want the community to know, whether you're in politics or not, there's something when we have representation in those seats. And again, greatness among all of you. I will be out there this Saturday. I don't know how long, because I got 1,000 events to go on, but my team, they will be out there all day. Our videographers, photographers, you will see both sides of the conversation moving around at the African American Culture Center. It'll be on 762 Fulton Street. Community, get out there, come check out some of the resources and things that's going on. Our young people will be out there. Great time to connect and check out what's going on. We definitely will be in the building. With that being said, thank you all for being here. Brother Mark, before we get out of here, every show we close with some remarks from you all as well. And the voice is always putting together a nice closing, him and Ayo, before I give my benediction before the end of the night. But for the ladies on the panel, y'all welcome to stay. But if y'all got to get out of here because it's late, could get to the family, we understand. We just got to get their comments out for the community before we leave. And just want to say again, thank you. We appreciate you all for being here. Brother Mark, it's on you. What did your part work? It was powerful tonight. Tell me something.
Well, first of all, I do want to take this opportunity to give all three of these ladies their flowers. It's an honor to see people who are actually heartfelt in the work that they do for the people. I still believe that service is what leads to greatness. And in the capacity, a lot of times people don't see the real work. And it's not glamorous, it's not sexy, it's not pretty, but it's substantial, and it's going to make our future better for our children. So I want to thank each one of you. When it comes to the topics tonight, quite honestly, there's not a whole lot else to say, but I'll just really just lean into love never fails, because it doesn't quit. And I want to encourage everybody, whether you're on a platform, elected official, or you're doing it in secret, don't stop working and don't stop serving.
Wow. Thank you, brother. The Rev, we call him the Rev. We call him the voice here. Mark, thank you. All the way from Houston, Texas, supporting the people, the Black folks, the brown folks, all of the good people. We got some good people that love people around here. Sister Ayo, the queen of the platform, you've been missing. They wanted to hear from you on Sunday. Give us some part word. Your call to actions is always very powerful, Ayo. Talk to the people tonight.
Well, first and foremost, I just want to thank you ladies for coming on and shining some light on this amazing organization. Robin, my hat's off to you. You've been in this 20 plus years. That alone is so encouraging and motivating. Like you said, it's not about, I put it in our chat, but not liking the statement of, aftercare, because it's not a period. It should be a comma, because the care continues. This is something that is near to you, not only because of your experience, but because of your empathy and your compassion and who you are in your heart. And I commend you for that. And thank you for this work. Jen, I'm going to reach out to you myself anyway, because everything you said was so powerful. And I can feel the passion in everything that you said. Not just compassion, but the passion that you have for the work that you do because of the actual authentic care you have, the genuine care in your heart. I'm very interested in learning more about Soul Jen. I love your narrative. I love your motto. Just even the opening statement of what your organization stands for is so powerful. And if more people even got to just hear that much, that's so inspirational. It inspired me reading it. I was like, I can't wait. I have like a list of questions here that we didn't get to, but this conversation was a necessity. The statistics alone are so alarming. And I know just because of my own research that it's not just young women, but to actually be able to shine the light on the impact it has on our young men as well. Getting more male mentors, getting more positive male influences, and getting them on your team and getting them out in the open to see that they're not alone. Not too many people highlight the fact that there are young men that are being trafficked as well, you know? And as a nurturing woman, soft, feminine woman, spiritual woman that you are leading in your glory, in your purpose, and you're walking in your purpose. And it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. I thank you for that. Miss Monica, I just appreciate you standing up for yourself. Number one. Thank you. Say a lot for the people in the back. I appreciate that. And you have actually given a face to those politicians and policy holders that we don't get to see, because the only ones who are highlighted are those who are shining a negative matter. We have people like you actually doing the work and going out, being the face, being in community, sitting in those meetings, making sure that they're heard. Like you said, your mother said, a win is a win. No, we did not get those 2 votes. But guess what? How many people were able to come out? Because of that impact, it starts a domino effect of so many better things to come. And I believe that what you're doing and your what you add to this organization as well is something triumphant. It's amazing. It's amazing. And I'm so glad that we have you 3 women representing and giving this space for people. We don't know who's watching, you know. John says it all the time. You never know who's watching, you know. But to be able to come here and give your perspective, your genuine, heartfelt experiences to our community, we could have saved at least 3 more children. We can save at least 3 more parents, because it does start with that foundation. To fix that foundation in the parents is what will build that house that represents the children. So I thank you all. Thank you, community, for tuning in tonight. We appreciate you.
Wow, thank you, Al. Very powerful. Y'all see, this is the greatness that I'm always around. Okay, I am the bishop, but before I let you go, okay, I'm the community bishop. I'm not ordained, okay, because people be at bishop. I'm not behind the pulpit. I'm in the community pulpit with the community. This is the name that the community gave me. I don't know. They say, John, you always preaching and teaching. We're gonna call you the bishop. I don't know. I just take everything my community give me, because when things wasn't so great, I took everything they gave me too. So again, thank you all for tuning in today. This is very powerful. I know it's been a long night. Usually we get out of here sooner, but see, when you're talking about hard work, when you're talking about the passion of people, See, sometimes you just lose track of the time because it's so informative. It's so inspiring. Tonight, I've been inspired by some amazing folks. So, with that being said, these are hidden gems. They no longer hidden. Community, you cannot say you don't know where love never fails at. We got the information up there. You just been connected tonight. No excuses tonight. All right. But with that being said, on this hidden gem segment, I will give the benediction before I leave to the people. I just want to say this tonight, community, you've been blessed. You heard from 3 phenomenal women that are making impact in our community on all levels. You heard the elected part. You heard the community part. You heard boots on the ground. Tonight, I've been just elated to understand. We talk about things and systems that fail. People fail. Parents fail. Community fails. Tonight, love never fails. Find out how to connect with them. Community, it is all of our job to make sure that the young people are safe, protected, and making sure that they have the things, the necessities, and the resources that they need to be great. It is our job as elders, as adults, to do our part, pass the torch, uplift the young people, listen to the young people. Again, elders, listen to the young people. We must create spaces. If we really want to change the narrative that our young people feel a part of the process, they are part of the intentional planning. Nothing happens without the youth. I keep telling you, this country changed because of young people. We wouldn't have never had civil rights if it wasn't for young people. Again, elders, the young people are the future. It is our job to continue to move in spaces together. It is our job, elders, to work together in solidarity. How can we change the narrative with the young people if the adults in the community, we can't communicate, we can't work together, we can't model the behavior that young people need to see, and then we ask them, why are they doing the things that they're doing? We are the leaders of the community. We must do our part. Community organizations, community leaders, we must be the ones to forgive. We must heal. We must embrace each other, walk together so that our young people can see the unity and not the divisiveness. Too many of our young people are witness adults being divisive, adults separating the community. There's work that is needed. Everybody has a role in this work. Everybody has a place on this train, the freedom train. If we want to change, we all have to get aboard at some point. Yes, there's people getting on. Yes, there's people getting off, but the freedom train is still moving. There is work that still needs to be done. There are still policies that need to be written. There is still opportunities. Community. We talk about allyship. We talk about how to uplift the people. We need everybody a part of this process. If we're going to combat human trafficking in our community, if we're going to keep the young women and boys of our community safe, we all must do our part. There is a role for all of us. When you get that opportunity, make sure that you're doing that part, not to continue the harm, but uplift the change. Bring the opportunities. It is time. When we talk about housing, there's a need. You be open. If you are the owner, are you willing to open your doors to give a young person an opportunity? One of these families that are trying to get from the bottom to move out of the place of homelessness, unhoused, is real here in the Bay Area. We need support. We need collaboration. We need a change tonight. If you haven't been inspired tonight, if you haven't walked away with nothing, tonight should be the night that the fire has been lit within you. Tonight is the night. You should get inspired. You should be writing and taking notes. What can I do to be impactful? Maybe it's just you healing yourself. Maybe it's you making the right decision. Maybe it's you extending the hand to someone else. If you haven't got anything tonight, I worry. Where are we going? Tonight, you've heard so many angles, so many perspectives. Tonight, you've been blessed by the best. I don't know. So many things have failed us. Tonight, love never fails. Okay, check them out. Support them. Uplift them. Shout out to Vanessa. Shout out to the team. Again, when we're talking about the village, this is the village. This is how we create the opportunities. When people come together, when people are vulnerable, when people speak up, when the voices of the people are amplified, yes, the narrative changed. That is what we did tonight. I hope you all are excited because I'm excited. I can't sleep now. 2 hours go to 1 hour tonight. I'm up all night. I'm replaying this. I got to see what happened. I don't know. I've been changed tonight. Everybody should be moved. We have an opportunity, community, to change the narrative. It is our duty to create the safe space. With that being said, thank you all for tuning in. All of our community folks, get ready. This Thursday, we won't have an educational Thursday. Our guest had an emergency, can't make it, but we'll be here this Sunday. Take a break from me. I know y'all need a break from me. Thursday, you get a break. Sunday, we are coming back, and we're going to be dealing with a real conversation about violence in our home as we continue to push on through this month. It is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and it is Breast Cancer Month. We will continue to have those conversations. Again, our prayers out to those families for this active shooter situation at the Baltimore College. Again, community, we got some work to do. When we talk about this gun violence, when we talk about the violence in our community, it is never ended. We got to keep pushing forward, continue to have the conversations, and continue to engage with our young people and continue to address the mental health issues in this country. Again, more work to come. We love you. Thank you for tuning in. Good night. Have a great evening. We'll see you on our next live this Saturday. Make sure you guys get out to our parody event that's going on with the Dreamkeeper Initiative this Thursday and Friday. And make sure Saturday you have the Brighter Future event that is taking place at the African American Culture Center complex. Please get out there. We'll be out there. Love Never Fails will be out there. Come shake their head. See, y'all always talk about, I see these people. Come meet us in person. Y'all know who I am. Go meet them. Get the resources. Help one of your community folks out. This is how we do it. Connecting the intersection. Tonight, you got some information. Go use it. Let's be the action. Let's step forward and uplift the community. With that being said, we love you. Thank you all. Have a blessed evening. We'll see you this Sunday.